Here are some tips about translating functions that will help you before diving into problems. First off, the general function equation is g of x. Usually you can put anything else there, but here we have an a and then the other function, and then inside a k, x minus d, that's the outside, plus c. And then specifically for exponential functions, the general equation is g of x a b to the power of k, x minus d, plus c. That's because exponential functions, that is ultimately what they are. It's going to be some kind of base raised to some power. So this function representation is all of that. You can kind of see how this basically went in there. So you can see what kind of transformations are acting on the function based on these values. Sometimes you may not see those exact parts, so could be confused how to graph the function if you don't know what are the transformations. But the key is that sometimes you need to factor the expression, usually with the exponent part around x. For example, you can have y equals to 5 to the power of 2x plus 2. It doesn't really look like the standard k times x minus d, not really. But you can factor it to make it look like this. 5 to the power of 2 factored out, x plus 1. With that, it is easier to see that you have a horizontal stretch of 2 and a horizontal translation of 1, because now it follows this kind of pattern. Another tip is the rule to remember for the order of applying transformations, if you're doing them one at a time. Remember that first we do stretches or compressions and reflections. Stretches or compressions, they kind of go under the same thing. And reflections over the appropriate axis. And then the second part you'd want to do are all the translations. So that is up, down, left, right. It leads to less plugging in and less probability for error if you take them in this order. Now the last tip is about the domain and range. The domain is always going to be x being an element of the reals, because you can plug any x value, no restriction on x, no matter what translation. Now for the range is depending on the horizontal asymptote. So for above asymptote, we have the range being y greater than c, and then for below the asymptote, we have for it being y less than c.